Hello, you guys. How are you doing today? We are back. It's Tuesday, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Can't believe the time is about to change after this weekend. Crazy. But kind of exciting, an extra hour of natural light, which is always nice. Hopefully we'll bring even more wildflowers out. But yeah, so what's brewing behind the scenes? I'm excited to make my coffee again today. I hope you guys are having a good day. I need my water today. I haven't had enough water yet today. And my son, my 1-year-old Ashy, decided that this was a play toy this morning and got water all over the place. It was awesome. So awesome. He had to change clothes 10 minutes after waking up. So today I'm just gonna make 1 cup of coffee. I already have made a cup of coffee, and my husband already has coffee in the refrigerator. He loves cold brew. So I just thought I'd make myself 1 today. So I am just gonna measure out about 29 grams, like somewhere between 25 and 29 grams. Because remember, I like a really strong cup of coffee. So I'm just gonna keep measuring. So I have a 1 cupper. This is just a 1 cupper, as well as my Chemex. So Chemex is like, I need a whole pot, or I have someone hanging out with me, or my husband's gonna be drinking coffee with me, and this one's just my 1 cup for me. So yeah. Oh, I forgot my coffee mug. Kind of important. This is always a big decision, like which coffee mug am I going to use for my coffee this morning? I'm going away on another weekend away for my business this weekend, and I laughed because I was talking to my friend Megan, who's coming with me and helping me, and I was like, we need to bring our own cups, our own mugs for our coffee, because the ones that are there are never big enough. Like those little, like, original old school, like, coffee mugs, or even just a regular coffee mug, like the ones you get with photos on them, or whatever they are. We still buy mugs for my parents with coffee with like pictures on them, and they love them, right? Best grandparent gift ever. Let me get the hot water out of here. So I was just warming up my cup there. I don't think I did that last time, but normally I do. I'll actually warm up the 1 cupper and the cup, but no, we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna start. So I'm gonna start pouring in. I'm gonna do my little bit of water to let it blossom. Hey guys, hi Sophie. We're 1 week, 1 week one week from the second day of that factor. I talked all about it last week on my live, but it was amazing. And Miss Sophie did such an amazing job bringing together so many talented people. It was, I know I talked about this last week, but it was fun just to do there and be able to share and be able to teach with people, but then also the community of the group and being able to talk to people like face to face about what people are really struggling with in their business, or what's happening in their business, or their view of what the Austin market is, or other markets. Some people were from Austin, some people were from Houston. Thank you, Sophie. You're the best. You were amazing. I can't wait to see the video of it all. Maybe not to see myself speak, because I always have a hard time listening to myself and watching myself, but to hear everything else. Hi, Beth. Miss Beth, 36th Street Events, the talented ladies. I actually did a wedding with them last weekend, which was amazing. Loved the couple. They were just so much fun. And they had, the groom and the bride both had 2 kids each, and they were just lovely, and loved seeing, this new family coming together and being able to photograph, all those great moments. So it was a really fun wedding to be part of at the Fairmont Hotel, which was actually the first time I've shot there as a wedding. So that was really fun. And yeah, was at St. David's again, Episcopal Church. So it was a pretty day, even though it wasn't very pretty outside, but it didn't matter because we were inside most of the day, and then also still got to I suggested to the couple to, as they're exiting the church, there was literally only about 15 more minutes of sunlight, of light. Even though in downtown the sun sets behind the buildings, I knew there would still be just a little bit of daylight left. So I said, hey, why don't we maximize that and do a couple pictures outside the church? And then we went back inside. So it was great. Hello. It was a great day. So, yes. It was a big weekend though, because I did the rehearsal dinner and then I did the wedding on Saturday, and it was just, I know everyone else in the wedding industry feels that you're like a little bit like hungover on Monday from your weddings, like a wedding hangover. Even though that Sunday I took a day, I actually went with my sister and we went to Lifetime Fitness. If anyone asks how I make time for myself, Lifetime Fitness is my new trick. I love it. There's childcare, 2 hours, up to 2 hours for your children. So my sister also is a part of Lifetime Fitness, and we decided to go together. And because my older son, Gray, has had a hard time, like, he's strong and he's big and he knows what's going on. So he was not digging being in the childcare. So, but he went with his cousins and he was like, this is amazing. So yeah, they were in there for 2 hours. My sister and I hung out in the hot tub and the pool. And then we went to the cafe, and we went to the eucalyptus steam room, and then we went to the cafe. And it was like life-giving to have that sister time and just time on the next day after a wedding to relax. So let me keep going on my coffee. So yeah, it was good. And then yesterday, what is going on in Austin? I mean, I know I'm supposed to be like happy about it, like it's cold, right? It's gonna kill off the mosquitoes. It's going to hopefully not kill off the bluebonnets that are already blooming. But we're supposed to have winter, but this is very cold. It was like, what, 30 degrees yesterday? I don't even know if it hit 40. And I had a bridal session at Laguna Gloria. You guys might have seen my story. I was being a little bit of a baby, but my bride was so amazing. She was just a total boss. Laguna Gloria was a great spot too, because they have that beautiful room with tons of natural light. And we started in there, and then we went outside for a little bit. And oh my gosh, my bride, I was like, are you okay? Here we are, like all like bundled up, and she's just in her wedding gown. Although it was such a beautiful gown. But she was just like, yeah, I got this. And yeah, we obviously maximized the time that we were outside and just did a few, my favorite spots outside of Laguna Gloria or outside on the grounds. And then we were done. So I love going there for bridals. It's one of my favorite spots. Anybody have any other ideas for good bridal locations in Austin? I didn't think about what I was gonna do with this. Normally I put it in the sink when I'm talking to you guys. Let me get a bowl. The one problem with having a one cupper is that sometimes I tend to like overflow it because I get so excited and I have to have room for my cream, right? For all my goodies. Cinnamon. I got so many questions from you guys after my first live. Everyone was like, okay, do I really need MCT oil? Is it as good as you're saying? And where do I get it? So yes, it's as good as I'm saying. I was thinking about it. The first few times I actually used it, I kind of felt like I was on at speed. But, just that, like just so much clarity of mind. And I feel like now it's not as much as that, but as it was those first few times. But I still really I like it. I dig it. I get mine, this is Nutiva, which is a brand that I trust. I do like Nutiva. And this was at Costco. I think Costco has a different one right now. Costco's always changing over their kind of smaller brands, which I just really appreciate that Costco has smaller brands represented. Like avocado mayo. I mean, come on. This is just Califia creamer, almond milk and coconut milk, and just a little bit of sweetness. But yeah, get Costco's MCT oil. It's going to be kind of in that protein powder section. Yeah, Koji's going to be a part of this too. He really wants to. You might see a little black tail in here for my kitty cat. Okay, now I'm just gonna fix these. And hopefully not make a mess. I loved that on my questions yesterday, which we're gonna talk about more in a minute. That coffee did win. It was like 82% of you were like coffee over tea. And I do love tea too. Some of my friends were like, I love both. I agree, I love both. But which one can I not live without? Definitely coffee. Right? Yay. Cheers. Hi, Megan. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Why is it that when it's cold outside, having a cup of coffee is just like, it's just good for your soul. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on in my stories right now. It's probably almost over, but what I basically did was just asked a bunch of questions. Cheers, Megan. A bunch of questions. I feel like after the Up Factor, I was so just on this high of being able to talk to all these people face to face and really hear. I in my mind can think what I struggled with when I first started, or what I currently struggle with, or what I'm currently trying to overcome. But everyone is a little bit different. Everyone's experiences are a little bit different. So one of my big things was just like, I want to know more. I want to hear from other people more. So so I created just this like questionnaire kind of questions on my IG stories. And it was just fascinating. I mean, some of them were like fun questions, like, do you prefer coffee or tea? But other questions were like, what is the biggest struggle that you, what is your biggest struggle in your business? Or do you struggle more with networking or with social media? It was networking, by the way, which I was very interested in, right? There's so many resources, I think, on the web now for social media. And it's interesting that networking is something that we all struggle with. I think sometimes it's hard to put it into words, and I think different personalities do better with networking than others. But for me, I'm an introverted extrovert. I think I've told the story before that when I was little in first grade, my teacher thought that I needed a speech therapist, that I had like a lisp and I wasn't speaking correctly. And it was not because I couldn't speak, but it was because I was so shy. I had a hard time. So, and I still have a hard time. I know, right? So really just getting out of my comfort zone and pushing myself. And I'm not gonna say that every time I go to a networking event, I'm like, boom, let me meet all these people, like, hey, I'm here. No, sometimes I sit in the corner and talk to my friends. Or, do that like lap of shame where you're just, not shame, I shouldn't say that, but lap of fear, where you're just like, who can I talk to at this event? But yeah, it was just really interesting to hear people's struggles. What were something else? Some people were talking about moving cities, and how that can be a really big struggle. And that's where they are in their business. Finding, when you move to a new city, like I did when I moved from Houston to Austin, which I thought was not that far away and wouldn't be that big of a deal, but it absolutely was. The brides that are here in Austin are completely different than the brides that are in Houston. The vendors are actually different here as well, which I like too. I think that Austin is a very special market as far as our vendor families and how we take care of each other. So yeah, where was I going with that? Yes, so moving to a new city can be a huge thing, and then thinking about your pricing, and how different markets can handle different pricing points. I know, where did you move from? Caitlin, I want to know. I'm going to move this closer to me so I can see. So you moved last summer. So yeah, it takes a while too. I definitely felt like, I remember when I first moved to Austin and I was sitting in my duplex, Corpus Christi. Gosh, I would be fascinated to hear more about the market for weddings in Corpus Christi. I'm sure it's totally different, right? Like your brides probably have more, and portrait sessions probably have a lot more beach in them, and than we do here. And I had someone that I know that moved from New Mexico, and she had a lot of practice and just a different landscape. And sometimes people like to see, they want to see themselves in your images. They want to see their venues, something that looks similar to what they're doing. I mean, not that you can't have traveling and aspirational, and that has its own power for sure, especially if you're wanting to target more destination weddings. But things are a little bit different. The vendors are a little bit different. The floral is a little bit different. And that can all speak to your client and communicate with them about who you are as a photographer, who your clients are, and do they see themselves in them. So I think that's a huge one. I could talk about it forever because I went through that and I understand that, and I absolutely feel like I did a good job of being intentional with creating, over time, with creating, a new space for myself here in Austin. And now I love it. What else? Oh, I thought it was interesting too. One photographer mentioned that so one of my questions was, do you struggle with finding your vendor family, right? So this is a huge thing that I kind of talked about in my Up Factor speech and talk about in general is, like, do you guys have a vendor family, like people that you love to work with, people that you really feel speak your language, have the same type of ideal bride, have the same kind of priorities on the wedding day, and those are the kind of people that you're referring each other, working together as much as possible, helping each other. It's just I found it to be so beneficial in my business to have that kind of vendor family. And one of the photographers mentioned that her vendor family, she took a little break in photography, and then now that she's coming back after having her son, her vendor family is not in the wedding industry anymore. And I thought that was so fascinating. I never thought about the fact about the longevity of businesses, right? I need to look up what the average is of the average lifespan of a wedding company is, or a wedding photographer or a coordinator. I'd be really fascinated to know that, because I do feel like, as someone who's been doing this for over 10 years, that I've seen a lot of businesses stop doing it for whatever reason, right? They're burnt out, they want their weekends back, they have kids now, physically they don't feel like they can handle it anymore. There's just so much that goes into it, and what makes a business continue to thrive, continue to grow, and continue to change with you personally, which I have found to be really beneficial, right? So in the beginning, I had different priorities. Then now I'm still growing, I'm still changing with myself and with my own interests. And I think that is what helps keep it fresh and keep it interesting and keeps me doing what I love, right? So I thought that was fascinating. I want to talk more about that. Also, guys, so many people read books still, like books. Tell me, do you guys read books more or do you listen to books more? Because I was just fascinating that I have children though, and I do not read books anymore. I just can't. Oh, this right here, it's actually, my husband made it for me. It was a gift, and it is actually, what is it called? Spoonflower is a website online that has all these graphic prints that artists have, and they can make it as wallpaper, they can make it as wrapping paper, they can make it as fabric, all these different things. Anyways, so I really wanted a whole wall of wallpaper of this, the Protea flower, and my husband was like, how about we make a beautiful big frame of it? So it's actually wrapping paper mounted and framed. Yeah, my husband's kind of amazing. I know, right? Spoonflower is awesome. I've done different things too with different Spoonflower stuff. I actually have a wall of wallpaper from them in my baby's room, which I love. It can be intimidating to do a whole wall of wallpaper these days. So yes. Oh, we're talking about books versus audiobooks versus reading actual books. So yeah, I just listen to everything on Audible. I listen to podcasts literally constantly. I stopped myself from listening to any more podcasts or books when I was getting ready for the last few weeks before I was getting ready for the Up Factor. I thought I need to stop the flow of like information into me and just absorb and work on what I was speaking about. And I was like totally fiending by the end. I was like, I need a new podcast. So it was great. Right now I'm actually listening to Super Soul Sunday. Oprah has, again, I don't have time to watch TV all the time, and I love Super Soul Sunday. And Oprah interviewed Beto, which if you guys are in Texas, you know how obsessed we are with Beto. So she did an interview with Beto, and oh my gosh, it's so good, you guys. Go see it immediately. And I kind of want to see his face while he's talking and to like see his body language, but yeah, it's still fascinating to talk more about that campaign and why it was so different. And talk about how he went all over Texas, 254 counties, I think, and visited them all. So, what else? Yeah. Ooh, another interesting one that I asked was, is your, I love him too, Sophie. Did you tell me about that actually, that Super Soul Summit? No, I think my mother-in-law did. Sophie, you have to go listen to it or watch it if you record it. But I'm about halfway through and I'm already just so inspired. But okay, so one of the questions I asked was, is your inner voice negative or positive? And I was really interested by this. Like, you know, I think for me, I tend to go back and forth a little bit, right? So I think that sometimes my inner voice, overall, I think she's pretty positive. I've worked really hard on her. I think when growing up, I think she was pretty negative. And I think I was my sister loves to tell me, was reminding me on Sunday, I was a very dramatic child. I was just very, very dramatic. And I was a theater child. And yeah, I think I just leaned towards being a little bit more, not mopey, but, you know, dramatic and thinking dramatic thoughts. And so I think that I just felt more comfortable in that negative space for a really long time. So I had to be pushing you towards me. I had to be very intentional with changing that. And I think you get older as well, and you get a little bit more confident. My husband's also been pretty big in my life as far as giving me that foundation of unconditional love that has allowed me to better myself and to feel more confident in life. But yes, so inner voice being negative or positive. So yeah, I think I go a little bit back and forth, but yeah, isn't that something we all have to constantly work on and make sure that it's positive? Because if we are beating ourselves up, then, you know, how can we do big things? Yeah, someone I think posted, I think it was you, Megan. Is Megan still on here? She posted that sometimes she literally stops. It was like a quote, and it was like, I literally stop myself in the middle of me like berating myself and basically saying, girl, we ain't got no time for that, which is so true. Sometimes I will literally catch myself in the middle of a negative thought. And I'm like, why are you being so mean? Like, hey, mean girl, like, move on. So I thought that was really interesting. If you guys have not answered those questions on my Insta stories, I would love to hear more. And if you're just even thinking, like, send me a DM about what are you struggling most with your business? What are you, what is on your mind? What are you seeking information about? And is there something that you would be interested in learning from me about either something that I do or just wanting to learn more about that, or would, and yeah, so creating some stuff. We'll be talking more about that in the upcoming weeks. And yeah, I just really want to make sure that I'm truly serving and truly creating content and information that is really helpful for people. So bring it on. You cannot go too deep. You cannot tell me something that I haven't probably told myself. Do you know what I'm saying? So I want you to feel really comfortable with answering those questions and sending me a DM or sending me an email, info@juliewilhite.com. And yeah, I want to hear from you. So I had a couple questions today about that someone sent me on Facebook, Miss Erin, and she said, "What is your favorite subject to photograph? Scenic, wedding, babies, etc." So I think this kind of like, right? I've been doing this for over 10 years, so I have like times when certain things are more interesting to me than others. I think overall, weddings have always been my what lights my soul on fire. Like what I love to photograph is just beautiful things. I love family. I know I've said this, I come from a big Italian family, so I love photographing. I've always loved photographing people. People in love is like hitting the jackpot. And then being able to photograph all of their family around them celebrating, it's like, I just, you guys know, if you're wedding photographers or in the wedding industry, it's I'm very, very grateful for what I do. So weddings has to be my number one. And then other things, call to my soul sometimes, as far as, when I have my baby, I want to photograph him a lot. And I was literally sitting in my car today looking back at Ash, who woke up very early this morning, and he's in this big old like jacket because it's cold outside, and he's like, ooh, he just looks like a little marshmallow. And I was just like, oh my God, you're so cute. So yeah, sometimes when I have my babies, I really feel called to like photograph more babies. And also, I haven't traveled in a while. I have a 1-year-old. So going to a new country and being able to photograph a different culture and a different landscape is also really calling my name right now. So anybody want to travel with me? This segues perfectly into my next question, which is, been to any destination weddings, and did you have a favorite location? Yes, I do. My favorite wedding, hands down, for traveling was Holly and Ash in New Zealand. So they were there. They lived in Houston. I knew them through a friend, and he's from New Zealand, the North Island, and she's from Australia. And so we were talking about wedding photography and different things and what they should look for. And anyways, eventually they asked me to photograph their wedding, and I said, hell yeah. And my husband got to go, and we traveled around Australia afterwards, and New Zealand. So it was a dream come true to go to, a place like that that's just so stunning, and being able to photograph such a sweet couple and again, amazing families. It was a dream come true. But I love destination weddings. I do just a couple, like 1 or 2 a year. Like last year, I don't think I did any last year actually, because I had a baby, but before that I did San Francisco, which was amazing. I always take a couple days before, afterwards, usually a day afterwards, to just enjoy. I think the year before I went to, was it the same year? I went to Jamaica with another photographer, Sarah Keeling, Sarah, and I would say Sarah Dolliver, but Miss Dolliver, that's not her real last name. That's her wedding photography name. So going to different places, I love it, and I want to do more of it. I'm just gonna put it out in the world, you guys. You're hearing it for the first time, that I am dying to shoot more in New Orleans. So I went to school in New Orleans. I went to Loyola University in New Orleans, and it's just been a place that's always called to me. It always has a piece of my heart, and I don't think we'll ever live there because we love living here. But I do want to go there more often. I want my kids to go there. I want to eat more of their food, and so yeah, that's one of my goals that I am working on this year, to create content in New Orleans, and yeah, shoot there more often. So putting it out in the world, you guys, help me make it happen. So yeah, okay, next question. Least liked and most favorite of the latest photography trends. This is kind of a hard one. I know. You want to go with me to New Orleans? It really is great. I mean, so much food, and then to be able to go back to the places that are still there from my college days. Eat a pork-a-call burger, like, go listen to live music. There's really nothing better. Okay, least liked and most favorite of the latest photography trends. So I've seen a lot over the last 10 years of wedding trends, And I'm going to speak specifically to like wedding photography trends. I think that's what I can speak about most. And I think what I'm really liking lately is this move back to like authenticity and representing the couple in a real way. I think, you know, when I first started, there was no Pinterest. I know, that makes me sound really old. There was no Pinterest. And then Pinterest like came like blazing through, and everyone was just so excited to be able to get all this inspiration and see all these things, see all these beautiful things that they could create for their weddings. So that was really exciting and fun, but also led to people creating details and things that were not true to who they really were. They were just doing it maybe for the photographs, or maybe for the fact that you could, you know, like do all these like little details and things. And they weren't always truly representative of the couple. So I think the fact that people are kind of going back to, okay, we do love creating unique things at our weddings that represent who we are, but we want to make them true to us and not just be a random detail for the sake of having a detail. So I've really been inspired by that, and by authenticity, and I think I also attract that couple, that kind of couple that is authentic and that loves their family and that wants to celebrate that, and that at the heart is what their wedding is all about, being able to celebrate with their families. And then also just having couples really trusting their vendors. I think this has also been, you know, with me specifically targeting and being able to work with really talented vendors that have a specific vision. I've also, you know, feel like my couples have, I have couples now that truly trust their coordinators, trust their designers, you know, stylists, their stylists as well. Truly trust them and kind of let them, like, here's who I am, and then let them help create a vision or a feeling for their wedding. And that trust is like priceless. So that's probably some of my favorite trends that I'm seeing in the wedding world. Least favorite? I don't know if I have a least favorite, right? Because I feel like that there are brides for everything. You know, I don't have brides that come to me that are looking for like moodier portraits of themselves, you know, like more editorial or more like something out of Vogue, or where they don't look happy. I think I show joyful images because that's what I like to capture, that joy. So I think that my couples are drawn to me for that. And I think that there are couples that aspire to maybe a little bit moodier, maybe a little bit more editorial-like, and that's not bad per se. It's just different than what I do, right? I feel like there's usually a market for everything. Although I am really glad that like mason jars and burlap are over with. That was probably a while ago, but we can still be grateful now, right? Anyways, you guys, I'm so thankful for you spending some time with me today to have my coffee. I hope you're drinking coffee too. And yeah, just talking about what's happening behind the scenes and what is happening in the world of weddings and the world of Julie Wilhite. But yeah, please, thank you so much. And I will talk to you guys next week, and send me questions if you guys want me to answer any questions on here. I love it. Hope you guys have a good Tuesday.